The Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, know that they have been rumbled. That is the only explanation behind their truly deranged statement, suggesting that Tom Bower, one of Britain's most respected authors, someone who had a long career of revealing the truth about high-profile figures from Muhammad al-Fayed to Simon Cowell for years before he tackled Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, is somehow a conspiracy theorist.
And I like the subheading, actually. It's not just betrayal, it's power, deceit, and the fight for the future of the royal family. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Tom Bower in his hero cape. Now, also, of course, we've got the clapback from Harry and Meghan.
I think it's driving Harry nuts a bit too. And Harry and Meghan know that. You respond to this when you're desperate, when things aren't going well. And I don't think things are going well for Harry and Meghan. And this book is another just kind of notch in the coffin, another nail there to secure how badly things have gone for them. I don't think they would be as threatened if things were going well. Things are going poorly.
Harry went completely crazy. Harry went postal. Well, we know that he's got mental health and psychiatric issues. This guy has lost the plot.
I mean, none of us look to you two nincompoops for facts. You can't even keep your story straight. Even in the Oprah Winfrey interview, they had two different versions of the alleged racism incident. They couldn't even keep their story straight.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his...
They had one job: stay quiet, stay calm, and let the noise pass. They could not do it. This week, Harry and Meghan fired off a furious public statement calling investigative journalist Tom Bower deranged before his new book was even released. And that move blew up in their faces fast. Within just 48 hours, the statement was everywhere online, and Bower's book shot straight to #1 on Amazon. They did not bury the story at all. They fed it, boosted it, and handed it even more attention. That is why this moment feels bigger than just another royal clash. According to Bower's critics and supporters alike, this is not only about palace drama or old family tension. The real heat comes from the idea that the book digs into Meghan's life before Harry, before the titles, before the royal spotlight got so bright. That is the part people believe really scares them. Not just what happened after the wedding, but what may have happened long before it. And once that kind of story starts rolling, it gets very hard to stop. Then comes the question people keep asking, and it is a brutal one. If the claims are really false, why not sue? Harry has never exactly been shy about taking legal action. He has gone after British tabloids, sat in court, and spoken very publicly about press intrusion and media abuse. So people look at this situation and ask the obvious. If Tom Bower is so wrong, then why has there been outrage, statements, and attacks, but no lawsuit? That question keeps hanging in the air, and it makes the whole thing look even messier. And this is where Bower's reputation starts doing a lot of heavy lifting. He is not viewed as some random gossip blogger tossing rumours around for clicks. He is a trained barrister, an investigative writer, and someone known for building books like legal cases.
Harry is not acquainted with the consequences of his own actions, and he's not acquainted with reality. He's in a bubble. He's in La La Land. And of course, he's in the grip of Meghan Markle. That's not a marriage, it's a hostage situation. Now, the great irony is that Harry has written this angry, impotent note about the book, therefore doubling its sales. That is how stupid Harry is.
However, by actually responding to these excerpts and creating this insanely aggressive response, what they are telling us in the public is that they are worried about the revelations, that Tom Bower is somebody to be taken seriously, because if he is just deranged, stalker, conspiracy theorist, whatever, you ignore him rather than responding. By responding, Harry and Meghan have unwittingly, as ever, promoted his book. They have done the exact opposite of what they should do.
Over the years, he has written about politicians, billionaires, royals, and major public figures, and that track record gives his work extra weight in the public eye. So, when Harry and Meghan attack him publicly instead of dragging him into court, a lot of people see that as a very loud signal. Then there was that Vancouver moment at the Invictus Games, and that whole episode only made things look even worse. Bauer was filmed, surrounded, and mocked online by angry supporters who clearly wanted to embarrass him. But instead of making him look weak, it handed him something useful, proof he was there, proof he saw the atmosphere up close, and proof he was part of the scene he later wrote about. That kind of backlash can backfire hard, and in this case, it seems to have done exactly that. They tried to make him look small, and instead they made him look central. Now look at the wording in their statement, because this is where the tone gets extra loaded. They said his commentary had crossed from criticism into fixation.
They said Mr. Bauer's commentary has long crossed the line from criticism into fixation. This is someone who has publicly stated the monarchy in fact depends on actually obliterating the Sussexes from our state of life, language that speaks for itself. He has made a career out of constructing ever more elaborate theories about people he does not know and has never met. Those interested in facts will look elsewhere. Those seeking deranged conspiracy and melodrama know exactly where to find him.
But critics pushed back on that right away. Bauer wrote one previous book about them, then worked on other projects, including a biography of the Beckhams. That does not exactly scream obsession. It sounds more like a writer doing his job. Then came the line about people seeking deranged conspiracy and melodrama, knowing where to find him. That word, deranged, hit especially hard, and many people felt it was chosen very deliberately to stir outrage and point a digital mob in his direction. That is why the statement did not read like calm confidence to a lot of watchers. It read like panic. In the eyes of critics, it looked less like a strong denial and more like a frantic attempt to discredit the messenger before the public could absorb the message. And when a powerful couple with a huge online fan base uses language like that against a 79-year-old journalist, it creates a nasty picture fast. Instead of shutting the conversation down, it made even more people curious about what was in the book and why the reaction was so intense. Then the palace side of the story starts creeping in, and that is where the drama really spikes. Reports tied to Bauer's work claim that Queen Camilla allegedly told a close friend that Meghan had brainwashed Harry. That is a huge line.
And so for Meghan to use that particular language of deranged is basically a call sign. She's putting up the bat signal or the wrinkled clothes signal to her fans to go, hey, attack this guy as if you would anybody else who's, let's say, in the royal sphere. I have been called a deranger before, and I'm like, okay, like this is just dumb. Like, grow up. What are you talking about? I offer nuanced perspectives, and that's really hard on social media for people to grasp.
Camilla told a friend, Meghan's brainwashed Harry. Now, those three words are, of course, damning, Brittany, because other than the king, that is the most senior royal pointing out what we have all known.
And it spread because it did not come framed as random gossip from some faceless source. It was presented as something said privately by someone who had watched the family turmoil from close range. Whether readers fully believe it or not, the quote lands hard because it fits a wider public narrative that Harry became deeply cut off from his old world after Meghan entered the picture. Bauer also points to that tense 2018 meeting at Kensington Palace, right after the honeymoon, when both sides were supposedly trying to patch things up. According to his account, William and Harry were attempting some kind of reconciliation conversation with Meghan and Catherine in the room. Then, the mood soured, tempers rose, and William reportedly pointed his finger during the argument. Meghan allegedly shot back, "If you don't mind, get your finger out of my face." If that version is true, then people inside that room would have known instantly that this was not some small misunderstanding. That was a line-crossing moment, And from there, the damage may have been beyond repair. After that, the story shifts into something even darker: separation from Harry's old life. Bower's version paints a picture of Harry changing his phone number, losing touch with longtime friends, and drifting almost overnight from people who had known him for years. Some old friends were reportedly not even welcome at parts of the wedding celebrations. That is why critics keep saying this was not just romance or reinvention. To them, it looked like a total personal reset, one that cut him off from the people and routines that once defined him. And once somebody is isolated from their old circle, everything around them can start changing very fast. Then came the branding disaster, and this part sounds especially savage. During Harry's Asia trip connected to Centerbal, a consultant reportedly presented him with a harsh brand audit based on corporate feedback. The message, according to the account, was brutal. His image had collapsed, and Meghan was being described as a reputational liability. That is the kind of phrase that sticks like glue because it sounds cold, clinical, and merciless. Not gossip, not emotion, not palace whispering, but brand language from the business world. And if a room full of corporations really saw them that way, then the Sussex image problem was way deeper than bad headlines. The entertainment side did not help either, and that only added more heat. Harry's polo documentary reportedly sank badly, and at Netflix events, comedians were openly taking shots instead of offering praise. Meghan's projects were not exactly being framed like unstoppable prestige television either. Then came the wildfire zone backlash, where filmmaker Justine Bateman publicly called them disaster tourists, and that phrase spread everywhere online. It was the kind of label that stings because it is short, mean, and easy for the internet to repeat. Every attempt to look sincere seemed to boomerang right back at them, and that pattern is exactly what makes this whole moment feel so dangerous for their image. And underneath all of this sits the question Tom Bower keeps dragging back into the light. Who was Meghan before Harry changed everything? Not the Duchess, not the global brand, not the royal rebel, but the actress still trying to break through in Hollywood. He points back to Deal or No Deal, where Meghan herself has said she felt reduced and undervalued, just standing there waiting to be chosen. Then came small roles, failed pilots, and guest appearances that never turned her into a major star. Suits finally gave her real momentum in Toronto, but Bower argues that this is also where another pattern started showing up in her personal life. He brings up Trevor Engelson, the husband she dated for years and married in 2011, before the marriage ended after Suits took off. Friends once called it a real love story, which is what makes the reported blindside hit even harder. And that is the kind of pattern Bower clearly believes matters most, because in his telling, the palace chaos did not start with Harry at all. It started long before him, and that is exactly why this book is making so much noise. Then came Chef Corey, and that chapter lasted about 2 years with them living together. But right around the time that relationship ended, a mutual friend introduced Meghan to Harry, and suddenly another door opened. That is the pattern Tom Bower keeps pointing to again and again across her story. In his telling, every stage of Meghan's life seems to move in sharp chapters. A relationship, a friendship, a circle, a scene, and then the second something bigger, richer, or more powerful appears. The old chapter shuts fast and stays shut. No looking back, no sentimental pause, no slow goodbye. Just move on and level up. That is the bigger theme hanging over this whole book. And honestly, it is why the reaction has been so explosive. Bower is not just writing about palace fights or tabloid headlines. He is trying to build a picture of Meghan's entire climb before royalty ever entered the frame. Long before she married Harry, long before Windsor, long before the Duchess title, there were already years of whispers around her Hollywood social world. Wealthy circles, private events, exclusive gatherings, people with money, influence, and access most ordinary people never get near. And for years, those questions never really went away. They just floated in the background, growing louder every time Meghan's public image was presented as something polished, spotless, and carefully controlled. That is where Bower's style becomes dangerous for them. He does not just ask whether Meghan changed after entering the royal family. He goes further and asks how much of the woman Harry fell for was genuine in the first place and how much was image-making, networking, ambition, and performance. That question hits hard because it cuts straight through the fairy tale version of their story. Not what happened to them, but who were they really from the start? And once that question gets traction, every old relationship, every social move, every career jump, every carefully edited detail starts getting looked at all over again. Then the conversation moves into the most explosive territory of all. The one subject that always sends the internet into chaos the second Harry and Meghan's names come up: Archie and Lilibet. Over the years, there have been public comments from royal commentators, family members, and media figures demanding more clarity around the children's births. Lady Colin Campbell publicly pushed for proof that Meghan carried the children herself. Thomas Markle said publicly that questions needed answers. Samantha Markle also made public remarks on the issue. On top of that, unnamed palace chatter, online speculation, and years of non-stop commentary kept the topic alive. To be very clear, these are allegations and suspicions that have circulated publicly for years, not proven facts. But the reason the topic never disappears is because the secrecy around the children has always been so extreme that it keeps feeding the speculation instead of shutting it down. And in royal matters, secrecy never stays small for long. Critics keep pointing out that Archie's arrival was handled very differently from other major royal births. There was no traditional hospital steps photo, which many people saw as highly unusual for a child so high in the line of succession. The communication around the birth was tightly controlled, the details were limited, and the whole thing felt more closed off than what the public had seen with other senior royal children. That alone would have been enough to trigger endless questions. But once the couple built a public image based on telling their truth, exposing institutions, and challenging media narratives, people naturally started asking why this specific subject remained almost completely untouchable. And that is where the legal angle adds even more weight to the whole controversy. Under British succession rules, the circumstances of royal births are not treated like random gossip because titles, rank, and line of succession can carry constitutional meaning. Archie and Lilibet are currently placed in the line to the throne, and because of that, any controversy around their births gets treated by some observers as more than tabloid chatter. Now again, there is no public legal ruling overturning anything, and no verified public evidence proving the rumours people spread online. But the fact that this issue touches succession is exactly why it never dies. In royal life, even a rumour can explode if it touches legitimacy, titles, and constitutional status. Then came June 2025, and Meghan posted that now widely discussed Instagram video of herself dancing with Harry while visibly pregnant. A lot of people took that as a direct answer without words, almost like she was sending a message to the critics without actually naming them. But instead of closing the conversation, it did what almost everything around them seems to do now. It opened another fight. Critics online immediately started arguing over what they were seeing, with some claiming it proved her point, and others doubling down with even wilder theories. And once again, Harry and Meghan did not step in with a direct, detailed public answer. No clean statement, no full clarification, no attempt to close the file once and for all, just more silence, more debate, and more internet chaos. That silence is what keeps this subject burning. People keep saying the answer should be simple if they wanted it settled. But year after year, interview after interview, project after project, it never gets addressed in a direct and specific way. Not in the Oprah interview, not in the Netflix series, not in Spare, not in any of the big moments where they talked openly about media attacks, family pain, and public rumours. And for critics, that silence feels louder than any denial. In their eyes, a straightforward answer could have shut down years of noise. Instead, the vacuum stayed open, and the speculation rushed right back in. That is also why the timing of Bauer's book matters so much. Betrayal reportedly covers the exact stretch of time when many of these public questions were already circulating loudly. And now, just as all of that old controversy is being dragged back into the spotlight, Harry and Meghan are heading to Australia in mid-April, their first major return there in 7 years. That is not some random travel detail. That is a symbolic collision waiting to happen. The last time they were there, in October 2018, they were newlyweds, working royals, and riding a massive wave of attention after Meghan announced her pregnancy with Archie on Australian soil. The crowds were huge. The coverage was non-stop. It was one of the brightest, biggest moments of their royal image. But now, look at the mood they are walking back into. A Change.org petition has already been launched arguing that Australian taxpayers should not fund any security or royal-style treatment for them because they no longer represent the crown. The message is simple and brutal. They chose private life, so treat them like private citizens. That alone shows how different the climate is from the last time. 7 years ago, they were being welcomed like stars of the monarchy. Now, parts of the public are openly asking why they should get any special treatment at all. And what are they going there to do? That is the part making even more people raise their eyebrows. Meghan is set to headline a luxury women's retreat in Sydney, with ticket prices starting in the thousands of dollars and premium packages, reportedly including a group photo opportunity. Harry is set to keynote a workplace mental health summit in Melbourne. So instead of a royal tour backed by duty and institution, this looks to critics like a fully commercial visit wrapped in the language of impact, wellness, and influence. That contrast is impossible to miss. The monarchy once drew giant crowds for them at no charge. Now people are being asked to pay enormous prices to be in Meghan's orbit. That detail alone writes the headline for Bower's critics and supporters alike. During the 2018 Australian tour, Meghan was reportedly overheard by staff near the Sydney Opera House asking, "What are they all doing here? It's silly." Staff then allegedly had to explain that people were there because they respected the monarchy. If that account is true, then the symbolism now is wild. Back then, the crowds came because of the crown. In 2026, according to critics, Meghan is trying to monetize the same fascination that she once allegedly did not fully understand. That is the kind of contrast that sticks in people's minds because it feels sharp, ironic, and brutally easy to repeat. Royal commentators have already gone in hard on that point. Rob Shooter said what many critics are already thinking, that this is not a royal tour at all. In that view, they are private citizens using royal-level publicity, while the royal family itself is going through serious strain. Then historian Tim Ewart added something even more striking when he argued that Australia was one of the places where the cracks in Harry and Meghan's royal life really started showing the first time around. So instead of returning to a place of uncomplicated triumph, they may be walking back into the scene of one of the first major fractures. That turns the whole trip into something much heavier than a business event or speaking tour. It becomes a live test of whether their global pull is still real or whether the shine is finally gone. And hanging over all of it is Tom Bower's book landing on March 26th. By the time Harry and Meghan touch down in Australia, every journalist covering them will have had days to read the excerpts, study the claims, and frame their questions. Every microphone, every camera, every panel show, every newspaper column will be primed and ready. That is why their early statement may end up haunting them the most. Before they reacted, the book had interest. After they reacted, it had momentum, headlines, controversy, and free promotion everywhere. People who had never planned to touch it suddenly wanted it. Social media was full of the same response over and over again. I was not going to read this until they freaked out. That is the nightmare right there. And the media did not even need the full book to turn it into a massive story. Major outlets ran with the reaction itself because the reaction was the news, not the contents alone, but the fury around the contents. That is the classic Streisand effect in action. Try to crush a story, and instead you blast it into the mainstream. Barbra Streisand made that mistake years ago when legal action over photos of her home only made those photos famous. Harry and Meghan, critics argue, just did the modern celebrity version of the same thing. They did not quietly sidestep the fire, they poured fuel on it, then acted shocked when the flames got bigger. And remember, These are only excerpts people are reacting to so far. That is what makes the panic feel even more revealing. If the response was this intense before the full book was out, what are they afraid the rest of it might contain? That is the question now hanging over everything. The unreleased chapters, the unseen details, the next wave of claims. They attacked Bauer before the entire conversation had even unfolded, and in doing so, they turned his book into a must-watch event in royal media circles overnight. So look at where this leaves them now. 7 years ago, Australia adored them. Now, a petition is trying to block public support for their visit. A book they tried to condemn is sitting at number 1 before many people have even read it. Meghan is reportedly charging luxury-level prices for access. Old controversies about Archie and Lilibet are roaring back across social media because no clean, direct answer has ever been given in a way that silences critics. Their past is being dragged back into the light by a writer they clearly hate, but have never taken to court, and every attempt to shut him down seems to make him look stronger, not weaker. That is the real disaster here. They wanted Tom Bauer dismissed, but instead they turned him into the centre of the conversation. They wanted people to look away, but now even more people are staring. They wanted the book contained, but they launched it into the stratosphere. And with Australia just weeks away, cameras waiting, journalists loaded with questions, and fresh headlines hitting every day, the timing could not be worse. They told the world Tom Bauer should be ignored. What they actually did was make sure nobody could ignore him at all. If you enjoyed this rewrite, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more royal stories, drama, and deep dive breakdowns you do not want to miss.